What was the most legendary thing a student did at school? Not my high school, but our sister school. The seniors decided to put a dead deer in the cafeteria ceiling as a senior prank. Still not 100% sure why they thought this was a good idea. It isn't up there with the legendary, but it's a funny story. We had strict rules on jackets. No logos. Black, white or grey only. No drawings. It has to be completely plain. It went as far as taking away their jackets during winter and not giving them back, which to this day I still believe is ducking abhorrent, and that the ministry needed a good lawsuit to make up for it. But anyway, my sister was wearing a black jacket with "moi" written on it in white text. A teacher stopped her to do the usual yelling and lecturing. My sister calmly responded, "Moi means black. Therefore my jacket is completely black." That shut her up good. Not students, but the senior class made the national news way back when I still in kindergarten. Senior prank: they bought 2 Madagascar hissing cockroaches and bred them. End of the year comes. I believe they smeared meat all over the halls, then released the roaches. Needless to say, the high school was closed for a bit. One of the people in that class is now my step-sibling. I went to high school in the early 70s. Our city had just implemented the desegregation of the high schools by closing the only black high school and busing those kids all over the city to the white high schools. Racial tensions were pretty high at my school. Many of the white kids resented having to go to school with black kids, and the black kids were understandably upset at being yanked out of their own high school and bused. It was lunchtime in the cafeteria. I was sitting at the next table over from where a white guy was sitting. I see a black guy walking up to the white kid. He stops in front of the white kid and say, "Hey, honky." The white guy says, "Hey, N." The whole room got real quiet. I could see kids looking around, trying to decide what to do and where to run or hide. The expectation being that there was about to be a fight. Then both the black guy and white guy bust out laughing and hug each other. The black guy sits down and they eat lunch together. People looked so confused as they couldn't comprehend what just happened. It turns out both guys were in drama class together and had decided to troll everyone. Friends of mine during senior year wrote in the snow from us to you. A big duck you. It was legendary for 3 reasons. 1. The field was directly in front of the giant window on the main stairs, visible from the ground level and upper level. Each letter was about 10 multiply 4. To the principal knew it was our group of friends, but not which ones, and never found out. 3. The message was impeccable, well written. The principal complimented us on that, which is additionally incredible considering how drunk they were when it was written. Not one student, but all seniors. It was customary at our school that on a hot day near the end of the year, seniors would start a water balloon fight. It was usually quite small and the teachers were used to it, so they could put a stop to it quickly. Not this time though. We had been dropping hints here and there for several days, weeks beforehand, talking about it in hallways, within earshot of teachers, leaving behind empty balloons, etc. The day before the actual attack, after school hours, we brought thousands of balloons to the school and a good 10-20 people started filling them at water fountains and in the toilets. We kept them in big buckets filled with water so the balloons wouldn't burst and hid them in the bushes around the school. The day of the attack, we had some mock maneuvers. Groups of people would suddenly start running towards the school entrance, the toilets, the principal office. Teachers would be running to stop us, only for nothing to happen. Then came the actual attack. Everyone suddenly ran into the bushes, grabbed the buckets, and started unleashing heck on the other kids. The teachers closed in, trying to destroy our balloons, but there were just so many, they couldn't get rid of them. Everyone was soaking wet after. The most legendary thing though wasn't the number of balloons or the planning of the attack, it was the fact that each and every senior participated in that, buying balloons, bringing buckets, filling balloons, etc. Everyone did something. Despite all the high school drama, we managed to all come together for this epic prank. When I was a student teacher, some quiet kid was getting shit from a bully for like a week. So he waited till they were in music class and the bully was on the piano facing the wall. Then very deliberately picked up a guitar, stalked across the room, and smashed it to pieces against the bully's head. All of this was caught on CCTV. That was one video that definitely got circulated among the faculty. A little foggy on the details, but a few stink bombs went off at the same time in 3 separate parts of the building. But no one was ever caught or punished for it. Then they searched everyone before graduation that year to make sure it didn't happen again. I wonder though if it was something more like liquid ass or fart in a can, cause the school was convinced it was stink bombs, but they never found evidence of them. Long ago, during my senior year, we had an advanced chemistry class, so only like 13 students. It was a test day, so we had a plan. Our valedictorian asks to go to the bathroom before the test. He leaves and sprints to the payphones long ago next to the cafeteria and calls the office. Says he is a police officer and needs to speak with our teacher immediately. The office calls him to the phone, and he leaves the room. The rest of us bust out a grocery store birthday cake, put up birthday decorations and balloons, pass out party hats, the whole 9 yards. Teacher gets to the office. The val says blah, 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 Mickey Mouse, and hangs up, and sprints back to the class. Teach gets back, and we start singing happy birthday. He was like, but it's not my birthday. Needless to say, we had our cake and ate it. Test was postponed until the next week. Our principal and vice principal were not well liked. Kid may have been me drew a huge poster with vice principal taking it in the ass from principal. It was hung up in the main common after lunch let out, like it was straight out of a movie. The principal walked by and saw the poster. There were at least 60-70 kids laughing their asses off. He ripped the poster down and went on his way. It was before my time, but I've had multiple teachers confirm the truth of the story. Long ago someone donated an old VW Bug to said school to have an auto class. The last year that class was available, a group of seniors disassembled the car and reassembled it around a tree in the middle of the night on a weekend. I believe in a single session. The staff was so impressed, no charges were pressed, and they left it there for the week. It was gone the following Monday and I wasn't able to find anyone who knew exactly what happened to it. Our school was putting in a brand new turf field, and it was taking a long time. One of my friends decided to dig up our state tree and plant it right in the middle of the field. Apparently it's illegal to uproot our state tree, where I'm from, so it stayed there for 2 weeks and halted the construction. The workers literally moved dirt around it like it was supposed to be there. I was told you have to get the state's approval to dig up a state tree, so I guess they had to wait on that. Eventually they realized that he just broke off a branch and planted that, so they were able to uproot it. At least that's the excuse I heard as to why it was taken up. It literally looked like a tiny Christmas tree in the middle of a dirt field. Definitely didn't look like a branch. It was a huge mystery as to who did it, and when I confronted my one troublemaker friend, he gave us all a little smile. We're all pretty sure he did it. Gave the whole school a few good laughs for a while. Cypress Creek High School class of 07. Senior prank. All the seniors brought the picnic tables out of the cafeteria area and stacked them up into a pyramid in the outdoor amphitheater, and then brought chickens to school and let them loose. Threw a bully through a window and single-handedly ended zero tolerance on fighting in my school. I quote, "If I'm getting suspended for fighting, I'm going to make it worth my while." When I was a senior in high school, a kid tried to eat 4 Chipotle burritos in one lunch break. The whole senior class went to Chipotle to watch, and we were all standing in a circle around him and cheering him on. He ate 3 9/10 of a burrito and projectile vomited everywhere. The yearbook covered it. Someone took a shit in the urinal, and a kid called Robert picked it up with toilet paper. He went and opened the principal's office door, so he got a good view of the kid wiping shit all over the walls. One of the farm kids in my school brought a dump truck full of hay bales from his family farm and literally blocked off every single entrance and exit to the building with them. He did this really early in the morning and the school was in the middle of nowhere, so nobody knew exactly who did it except me, his partner in crime. He cancelled school for a day and a half. The reason why he did this: the principal was an absolute scumbag who hated kids. This kid's sister got in trouble for something she didn't do, and the absolute asshole brought her to the principal's office and made her apologize for trashing the girl's bathroom to the entire school over the PA. When we were done with the escapade, we also filled the asshole's car with turkey feed through his open skylight the first day back, while everyone was at a rally about the aforementioned hay baling. Everyone had an idea of who did it, but since nobody was around for it and the cameras weren't working, we got away with it. My friend was called to the office to face the same date as his sister anyway, but when the PA turned on, the absolute legend said this: "Hello everyone. I'm sorry that the school got turned into a barnyard, but on the bright side, I bet it made Mr. Principal feel at home. An ass's favorite meal is hay." Opened a door so hard I ripped it off its hinges. Don't know how. Just placed it near the doorway and walked away. The next day it was fixed and forgotten. Oh man. I have so many stories that fit, but I think I'll go with this one. One of the kids in my class was a notorious troublemaker. We'll call him Yazoo, because that was the only substance I think I've ever seen him consume in my 5 years of knowing him. Teachers hated him because he had a bad attitude, and while he was sometimes alright, he could sometimes be really rude without any kind of warning or provocation. Anyway, we were in maths one time, and Yazoo asked King around like usual. Bear in mind this was around the middle of the day, pretty much right after lunch. Our teacher was getting progressively more and more pissed off with Yazoo, until eventually she made the fatal mistake of saying to him, "If you're not going to pay attention, you can just leave." He shrugged his shoulders, said okay, packed his things, and went home. No one tried to stop him or anything. I don't even think he got in any trouble for it, since he was technically just doing what he was told. One day in 7th grade the class clown was verbally saddened by the fact that our female math teacher didn't wear a dress again, like he had asked. He promised her that tomorrow he will wear a dress as well, so that she wouldn't be the only one wearing a dress. Well, next day comes around, and she isn't in a dress. Clown comes in not wearing one either, and is shocked that she didn't wear one. She responded with, "Neither did you." Then the ducking legend started stripping to reveal that under his normal clothes he was wearing his sister's dress. We all died laughing, and he dead swore at the rest of class. It was too uncomfortable for him though, so he changed back for the rest of the day. Ducking legend. Too long didn't read student wore a dress under his normal clothes to class to prove a point. Put someone's hair on fire with a cooking blowtorch, but the guy was cool with it so it's fine. A good friend of mine was on holiday at options time. His year head told him, "Tough luck. I have decided your future." For months my friend broke into school and crapped on the teacher's desk. The same teacher ridiculed me for not wanting year photos. My friend arranged for me and the rest of the class to not pay for them. The same teacher became headmaster years after I left. He was great with the sports teams, but a terrible teacher and human being. In middle school there was a kid in my grade that absolutely hated being at school, so he was always trying to find ways to make everyone else as miserable as him. My math teacher at the time was quite a pacifist and eventually resulted to ignoring his behavior. The student did not like that at all. So one day he brought in an electric razor and snuck up on her before class had started and everyone was walking in. All of a sudden everyone heard a shriek and we looked to see that the student with the razor in hand and hair on the ground. He basically gave her a reverse mohawk. Lucky for her the rest of her hair seemed to cover it to a degree. That was the last day we saw that student. He got what he wanted though. However, I believe we heard that she pressed charges on him. Put weed in the incense burner for our outdoor mass. Brought a whole new meaning to mass on the grass. Ran away and stole a golf cart and drove laps around the school. We had a strict bathroom policy at a high school I taught at. The office secretary implemented and enforced it like a tyrant. I personally had an issue with this and let my students go when they asked and would email her and tell her. I just couldn't deny this to my students. I knew there was the occasion where a kid was not truly in need of the restroom, but wasn't willing to deny those who did. So I just documented and alerted the secretary when I sent a kid down. I mean, the kids were overflowing the toilets by stuffing things down them, smoking in the stalls and all kinds of stuff. So I understood we had an issue, but I still had a hard time denying them. Anyhow, it's a normal school day and my students are all busy working at their desks, and I'm sitting at mine with another teacher on the other side, and we are calling students up individually to review their work and guide them to the next part of the subject project. As we are in between students, we prepare and make notes for the next student, and a male student comes up and leans against my desk. He says my name and the other teacher is talking, and I'm looking her way, and the student says my name and then asks if he can go to the bathroom. No more than 15 seconds passes and the teacher stops talking to me, and I turn towards the student, and he is now making this face and urine is streaming across my desk. He asks if he can go to the bathroom again, and I'm like, what the heck? Yes, of course. And following him down the hall, I ask him why he did that, and he said the previous class and teacher wouldn't let him go, and I was taking too long to answer. I was in shock and pissed, no pun intended, because I would always let them go in my class and that didn't need to happen. It upset me that he had been holding it for long enough that he couldn't control himself, and I made that well known to the secretary and the administration, and no longer told the secretary or gave her any power over students and bathroom issues. He flooded my desk and the hallway. Poor kid. I'm going to have to throw my own kid under the bus here. My whole response to this situation is the Will Ferrell meme, I'm not even mad. That is amazing. My kid and his best friend started the bubblegum cartel in middle school. Him and his best friend, they are both Italians. It seems you can't put Italians together without forming a criminal organization, started a bubblegum MLM, and got a good portion of the school involved. Kids on the bottom sold it. My guys provided and made the money. Apparently it got so involved, the middle school, on 3 separate occasions, had to have a town hall to inform the kids the bubblegum cartel has to stop, and that they don't know who the perpetrators are. But the kids selling gum needs to stop, as they are doing all the work and selling gum while the perpetrators are making all the money and they are being taken advantage of. In all of middle school for both years, not a single student turned them in. And the school has no idea that my son and his BFF were the head of the cartel. I was wondering why he kept asking me to buy him gum wherever we went. I thought it was a phase. He then informed me it was free gum to sell. I couldn't stop laughing my ass off. My partner was incredulous that my son took advantage of me, but I couldn't get mad about it, though I should have been. That night, for the first time in my life, I was floating on clouds and felt what peace actually feels like, because I realized my kid is going to be okay. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.